This is the Concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Content Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in today's episode, we're going to dive a little bit more into the behind the scenes of working in a hotel and kind of dive into, do concierge get competitive with each other, and a couple of little things like that. So I'll go ahead and dive into that coming up next. So it is important to note, how does one get hired as a concierge? So we won't go into the whole thing, but essentially what happens is it really depends. I would say especially nowadays with so many concierge desks closing that you have a lot of experience in the city where it is actually a really hard job to break into if you're not coming from another part of that casino or have other hospitality experience. Because the thing is with being a concierge is that a lot of it is sort of an intangible skill. It's really knowing a lot of stuff, really being able to sort of think on a dime, being able to sort of sell things, and also elevate your game to the clientele that you're in. So it is one of those interesting positions in a hotel where you can be taught, but it's much, much faster if you hire people who have lots of experience with the city itself and also understand how hospitality works. Because the thing is that position specifically as a concierge, you're much more than just like a front desk agent, which front desk agents, that is a great break-in job inside of a hotel. You make really good money. If you're able to upsell stuff, it's really, really fantastic. And it's a really good place to sort of make your bones as a hospitality worker. You're really supposed to know, a lot about the rooms. I'll talk about the hotel as a front desk agent. You have to know a lot about the hotel rooms, obviously. That's what you're dealing with the most. Being able to be fast and efficient, talk to people. And especially you have to talk in an elevated way. You have to remember, the front desk agent is the very first person you come into contact with in a hotel. So your first really experience of that property is through the front desk agent. So they're supposed to, elevate the whole experience, especially if you're staying at places like the Wynn, the Venetian, Fontainebleau, Resorts World, Aria, Bellagio. Guests are coming in with an expectation of what they want out of that experience. So it's really important for that. But that's why at those properties you see front desk agents that are quite experienced. But a lot of times, front desk agents want to do something more. You usually find, sometimes, front desk agents with lots of experience, they'll know where things are in the hotel, but essentially it's not their job to go experience those things. They have to know directionals, where it is in the hotel, how to get you there, and possibly, what this sort of style is. And the thing is, a lot of hotels try to sort of make sure this is ingrained in all of their employees to know what the experience is like without actually doing it. The bare bones, big giant sort of bubble cloud keywords of this is the ambiance here is, high energy, clubby, live DJ on tap, because they don't want to say it's loud. They'll say there's a DJ. So they give them these sort of bubble words to go off of. The differences between a front desk agent and a concierge is that the concierge this is really their job, is to know what it's like there and also tell you what it feels like to be there. Because you're supposed to really go out and experience these things. You're somebody who knows a lot about the city. A good concierge will typically be able to describe what it feels like on the inside of a restaurant and tell you kind of maybe what they ate, maybe what the experience was like. You're really sort of providing the color of that particular property. And that's very different. The thing is, most of the time, employees are able to give you sort of the canvas and sort of the basic colors of the restaurant, but the concierge is really there to paint the picture for you and tell you how they felt, who they were there with, how the experience was, what is it good for? Is it good for a party? Is it good for a date? Those are the things that you want to know. And the reason why concierges are so important to the hotel industry. Vegas is very particular because the hospitality level is very high for anybody who works on Las Vegas Boulevard, and especially if you're working in a luxury property, you're really competing with the best of the best. So we're all trying to outdo each other in terms of, who has the best room setups, who has the best service, who is the best concierge desk, which that is not something you can vote on, although it'd be really funny. But it usually comes down to how can you provide the best service for your guest, making them feel like they are at the highest level. And that's all we're trying to do. I have to say, when I became a concierge, the biggest thing was learning all the systems and learning how it works, obviously. But as you go on, you learn to be able to be the bridge a lot of times between somebody who doesn't visit Vegas very often and wants to experience something they've never done before. So maybe they've never been to Carbone. Maybe they've never been to a place like Mayfair Supper Club. And you are the one trying to describe that you can do it. And this is how you can. You're sort of the middle person of explaining these things. And that's really fun. It's really fun to be able to talk to somebody about really expensive wine, then also talk to somebody about doing like a zip line on Fremont Street. You have to be well-versed in a lot of it, and that is your job. So I think that's sort of the interesting part. And it always comes up to like, what is the best concierge desk? Do we compare each other? Are we all on the same level? I would say we are not all on the same level because we have to deal with different types of guests. When I used to work at MGM Grand, a lot of it was volume. We were able to deal with a high volume of guests, lots of guests per hour. And that's the thing, is that we were able to turn over guests quickly, but also still try to provide that best experience possible. And we always wanted to be, I would say across town, we're all trying to make this best reservation at the best restaurant. That's sort of like the base level, but we're trying to sort of show how far and above and beyond we can go. That's why we really love doing room setups. Whenever we're able to do, hearts on a bed, send flowers to a room, do something special for somebody's first time to Vegas or an anniversary or a honeymoon, that's really where we get to show our chops, which is why whenever you get a concierge who goes and makes up a room and gets to, do something special for somebody's, first time to Vegas, we take pictures of it. That's the only thing we're able to take pictures of because, one, we need proof that we did it, but also that we want to show how good we can be and how much we can show off to other concierge while delivering this fantastic service. We all want to have like the best uniforms. We want to have the best business cards. And I think that can go for really any what's we're looking for, any department. But the thing is that as a concierge, it is one of the only jobs where you interact with other property concierge. You don't see a lot of front desk agents go to other front desk agents and talk about stuff. A lot of people in the concierge business in Las Vegas go to a lot of the same invites. You'll get invited and you're able to go to experience like the John Wick experience, for example, or you're able to go experience a restaurant. And then they have these sort of get-togethers where you meet up and you talk about kind of what's going on in the city. A lot of times you just go for the free booze because that's fun. But you are really there to experience, small bites of a restaurant. And it does feel like a really fun job, which I have to say is a very fun job to do. But you do have to know a lot of things, and you have to sort of keep yourself up to date on things going on in town. So whenever you go to these events, you're always looking at other properties and saying, what is it like there? Obviously, how much do they pay? And I would say that concierge is the one position where you are very aware of the status. Because if you're working at places like the Wynn, the Bellagio, the Venetian, Fontainebleau, maybe like the Conrad, which is a higher tier property at the Resorts World, you are the person that is dealing with, celebrities and very powerful people, and that's sort of where you want to be. You want to deal with those guests because those are the guests that most people in hospitality want to deal with. No offense to anybody who is, more of a budget-friendly guest, but the way to sort of step up in the business is by being able to deal with high-level guests and being able to stay cool under pressure, because those are the moments that you're really, really judged on. Sometimes you have to be judged on the everyday guest. And does this sound sort of elitist? Sure, it does. But it's a position it feels elitist sometimes. Although I would say you should always use your concierge, because there's no better way to feel like you are in Las Vegas doing a Las Vegas thing by asking a concierge a question. The greatest thing about concierge that I think people don't understand is concierge are the most open, welcoming people in the resort. I mean, I've dealt with people that I didn't want to talk to, but you are always excited to make somebody's day. We are really we're in the moment making business, which front desks sometimes is because they're the ones who have to take in, they're sort of your first face that you walk up to, but they have a lot of guests they have to go through. They have to check people in. It's a very important part of the process. Concierge couldn't do what we do if front desk didn't do what they did, because you have to stay in a hotel, you have to stay in a room, and they're the ones that check you in, and they're the ones that set up all those things to sort of set you up for your fantastic day, or fantastic trip, excuse me. We are the ones who get to do all the fun stuff. We're the ones that get to understand that it's, your 29th birthday and we have to set up something in the room, or we have to make that unforgettable restaurant experience or restaurant reservation that you might have forgotten to make before you got to Las Vegas. We're the ones that know where you go buy things for, maybe it's a dress, maybe you forgot some shoes, and we get to be part of that experience. It's really a way for us to be part of your vacation without having to actually be there, because we go home knowing that, oh man, like I used to do this all the time, was that I would make somebody's, itinerary for the day. I would do, dinner, a show, maybe, arrange a limo pickup if it's like a really big deal. And I would just, look at the clock and say, oh, it's 6:30, that the guest is getting to their limousine, 7:00, that guest is at the restaurant, and it's 9:30, they're going to start watching, Le Rev. And then hopefully, this is another thing, maybe that bottle of champagne, they're going to be walking in and seeing it for the first time, and they'll get really excited. Knowing that I'm part of that is what makes that part of the job fantastic. But again, like, we like to compare ourselves. Like, it happens all the time. Like, we'll look and see like who is the like young, hot sort of group of concierge team at those like gatherings, for example. A couple of them are like SNHCA, which is the Southern Nevada Hotel Concierge Association, and then you also have the Les Clés d'Or, which is sort of the internationally recognized one, which everybody wants Cross Keys. It's like the cool thing to have, but you have to work for it, obviously. It's sort of like a career. And we sort of judge. It used to happen all the time when we go to nightclubs, and it would say like multiple concierge teams were in a nightclub together, and we always wanted to see like, who had the better table, who might be, because that's the thing. It's very interesting that, just like any other business, the closer you are to like the center of the action, so the closer you are to like the DJ booth, for example, that usually points to who has the most sway or brings in the most business for that nightclub, and then they treat you a certain way. So it is really funny the way that works, but it kind of is what it is. It's really fun. So we like to sort of compare each other. Uniforms is a huge thing. We love to talk about each other's uniforms. I remember when I was at MGM, we had shit uniforms. The only good thing is that they were blue, and blue kind of looks like normal on everybody, but like places like Mandalay Bay, they had tan uniforms. Oh, I would have hated to wear those. Venetian also had tan uniforms, which looked ugly. A couple other places, I'm trying to remember. Did the Wynn have red uniforms? I don't think they had red. They maybe had like maroon for a while, or like that like brown color, which they were like the Wynn though. That's the thing, is that the Wynn concierge team kind of runs shit. And a lot of times when your chef concierge, who might be the president of Les Clés d'Or or the Southern Nevada Hotel Association, if they're the president, they tend to push you to like vote for things a lot more. And whoever like is actually working in that team or that department, they usually, especially if they're big enough, they could influence on, what is voted best of Las Vegas sometimes from the Nevada Concierge Association. And I have to say, it's really cool to see like on the marquees, this was voted by the Nevada Concierge Association as the best show, which it really is a big deal. So I a lot of times like to think that the the SNCA. We call it SNCA, by the way, for the Concierge Association for Nevada. A lot of times that carries more weight than the Las Vegas Review Journal's Best of Las Vegas list, because a lot of times their list is definitely paid for. I can tell you that the SNCA voting, the way that it works is they send out a ballot to everybody, all Concierge, and then we all sort of vote online. And a lot of times, of course, like people are going to vote for their property a lot of the times. But I do think that a lot of people who are in the concierge business want to vote for what they think is the best. And that's a very important thing to sort of note. And it is really funny how like sometimes when like the Wynn president would be presiding, that a lot of the Wynn restaurants and outlets would win. But the thing is that the Wynn does have really great restaurants and really fantastic lounges. So sometimes it wins based on, yes, it is the best. But we do like to spread it around, which I think is really, really nice. So it is interesting to see like places like Fontainebleau. They are sort of a younger concierge team sort of coming up, and that'll be interesting to see once, that gets going. And then also, the Wynn has been sort of a staple for luxury for a long time. Same thing for places like the Bellagio. But it is important to note that so many properties have closed their concierge desk. A lot of MGM properties, and Caesars, for the most part, doesn't really have any concierge anymore. So it's very interesting to see how that goes. For example, places like MGM, New York, Excalibur, Luxor, they don't really have a concierge team anymore. A lot of them have had to be moved to places like Aria and Bellagio, and then they have to take over the responsibilities for other properties, even though they may not be on property, but they are responsible for other properties around them, which is very, very, it's a lot of work to be able to do that. So it's tough. Which I would hate to be in that situation, but sometimes you kind of have to do what you have to do. That's why some of the the top tier places would be places like Cosmopolitan, Bellagio, because they obviously are very similar together. Places like the Venetian, Palazzo, the Conrad at the Resorts World, and then also the Wynn and Encore, and then Fontainebleau, because these are like sort of luxury properties. Luxury properties, for the most part, will usually always have a concierge team because a lot of things are very specific, and you have people who want that personal touch for their properties. So it's really, really important to note kind of like that's how it works. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into some news of the week, which today, as of this recording, which is Wednesday, February 25th, Metallica was announced at the Sphere Las Vegas. So those of you rockheads out there who are always crying about Metallica not being in the Super Bowl, this is your chance. They obviously travel a lot and do lots of tours, but everybody wants to see Metallica on a gigantic stage. I'm actually just typing in Metallica at the Sphere. And they got announced that they will be performing at the Sphere many months in October, which I believe is going to be October 2nd, 3rd. They also have a 2-day ticket thing, which that's interesting. So they will be performing... Oh, my goodness. I just want the dates, guys. There it is. So they will be performing... It's called the Metallica 2-day ticket, which is October. I'm looking at the 15th and the 17th. So also you can't split days. That's interesting. But I guess it's a thing that they do a 2-day ticket where they perform no repeats. So you essentially have to buy the 2-day ticket so you can listen to all the songs. Very interesting. I never actually heard of this, but for those of you that are, big Metallica people, I think this is like something they've done before, so that's kind of interesting. So I do just want to see like the dates. So give me a second. I just want to type it in here for a minute. I think it's very interesting, and they were sort of rumored that they were talking to Metallica about performing there. I think that they do obviously have the fan support to perform at the Sphere. It'll be a crazy show, but they will be performing October 1st and 3rd. These are paired days. So October 1st and 3rd, October 15th and 17th, October 22nd and 24th, and then October 29th and 31st. So let's see. So how does this work? So this is on their website, so I don't know if that's going to help me out that much. But, fan club pre-info, tour dates. Yeah, I just want to frequently asked questions. Here we go. The best thing to do, guys, is to Google. That's always a good way to look for stuff. So let's see here. Will Metallica be at the Sphere? Yes. When will tickets go on sale? Are there a ticket limit? It's 4 people. Let's see. I do not live in the same country. I always love when I'm just reading sort of the frequently asked questions, which I should have done before. So if I purchase a 2-day ticket, will I be in the same location each night? It says yes, obviously. Also, they do have standing room, which that's a thing as well. So this is the most asked question, which I'll answer it now. I see there are 2 shows each weekend. What's the deal? Sphere residency shows are keeping up with the no repeat weekend tradition. Metallica will play 2 completely different set lists each night of that weekend, Thursday and Saturday. So most people will have to buy 2-day tickets to listen to all of the set list, obviously. And you can't split them up. So it has to be that Thursday and Saturday. And then they'll reset for the next week. So it'll be very interesting to see what they play on each day. I would say this is definitely for diehards, but I think most people who go see concerts at the Sphere are diehard fans, unless you're going to see The Wizard of Oz, which everybody does. But that was a very interesting thing to come down the pike, is Metallica tickets for the Sphere. The tickets do go on sale on, let's see here. It will be in 4 days. So they say Monday, March 2nd, at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that would be 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you very much, TV training, to teach me how to count up to 3, which is pretty funny. So that is the big news that came down the pike, and I would say it's great. I think it's going to be a really cool show. I will not be going to see it live because I am not a huge Metallica fan. I will be seeing it on Instagram because that's where I would watch it, which if you do want to check us out on Instagram, concierge_confidential_LV, and then my personal one, Brian_Ortega26, is where you can find that as well. Also, the United States men's hockey team and the women's hockey team won a gold medal. There's been lots of stuff surrounding, the call with, Donald Trump, and we are not going to be talking about politics on this particular podcast because that would be a really terrible way to go. But there has been a lot of stuff about the women's team not going to the White House, and Flavor Flav said that he wanted to step in and provide a really fun weekend for the women's hockey team, which I think he also extended to the other women Olympians. And I think anybody who won an Olympic medal. It was very confusing, like when he was like promoting it. But a lot of businesses have caught on to this. So let's go ahead and see. They invited them, obviously, and a lot of companies, including Vegas ones, have pitched in to say that they will support and help fund this thing. So it won't be happening like this weekend or anything, because I think a lot of the hockey players are in season, so they can't go off and go to Vegas right now. But many companies have jumped in to want to help. So a couple of places that I saw recently were Southwest Airlines, Delta was another one, and then also Resorts World, Palm said that they wanted to host them as the hotels. I think also there were a couple of restaurants at MGM properties that wanted to pitch in, a couple of Glam Squad stuff. So pretty big companies were the ones who wanted to help out in this sort of party endeavor. I think also nightclubs like Zouk and Live. I think Tao Group was another one, which was a really big deal. So it'll be like a massive weekend when they're in town. And I think this is good. I think it's actually good for Vegas because, one, we're awesome, and I think it's actually a good way to show that the city can unite and sort of build up this event to really sort of be fun for them. And if they actually, this is a typical like Vegas thing. We're going to figure out a way to get people to come to Vegas while this is happening. Like, honestly, this is actually a thing that they should do. They should have a parade on Las Vegas Boulevard for them. Because one, I think it'd be really cool. I think by the end of this, I feel like the male hockey team will probably come as well, because it's for a lot of the Olympians. But I think it'd be really cool to have sort of like a victory parade down Las Vegas Boulevard and sort of make it like a whole event to get people to Las Vegas. So I think that would be a really great way to sort of promote the city. And I don't think Derek Stevens, the owner of Circa, has sort of chimed in yet, because I think he's been in Missouri. But he would definitely be somebody who wants to do something. I think even Barry's may have said something, so maybe that's part of Circa's thing, is that Barry's would be part of it. But I think it'd be really fun. So whichever way you land on sort of the controversy about this, I think it'd be a really cool thing to have like all the USA Olympians come to Las Vegas to celebrate their gold medals and any medals that they have, gold, silver, or bronze. So with that being said, we've reached our limit, everybody. Hopefully that was an insightful episode. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Really appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Make sure to give us a review, rate us if you will. 5 stars would be sick. But really appreciate you guys listening to both our episodes. And kind of a fun thing, we have hit over 100,000 downloads for this podcast, which is great. That's a very big number. So that's all of our podcasts put together, over 100,000 downloads, which is really amazing, really fantastic that you guys have been downloading and listening to us, or to me, talk about Vegas stuff. And some interesting news probably next week that I will reveal to you guys on that episode. So thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate you guys tagging along. If you see me out in town, come up and say hello. But remember, keep it confidential.